Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I have been away for probably about 2.5 weeks or so because I have been ill. Thankfully I'm back and here we are doing a World Trigger chapter 204 manga chapter review. Before anything else, anything that I'm behind on I'll catch up. Like I was meant to do a solo leveling chapter yesterday, catch up. I'll pick that up over the next couple of days. So if you don't get it today, you will get it in a couple of days. Albeit late. That being said, let's get into this review. So, I kind of was caught off guard with this month's chapter, to be honest with you, because I was thinking it was going to release later. It released early, time differences, or maybe just released early in general. It did catch me off guard, but here I am doing my review for the second time after sorting all the issues out. And I do want to mention this. I really think that for the amount of effort that the author of this story puts into creating characters, it should really be applauded, because there's so many characters if you think about just this pool, without even including the characters that are not even mentioned, that are to do with border or an operator, an attacker, a gunner, a shooter, all rounder. There's so many different members of borders, so many different characters kind of in this world of World Trigger, that it's very difficult to know all of them. When as soon as names started being mentioned, I was like, yeah, I recognize that name from somewhere. I don't know what squad he's in or what rank he is, but it rings a bell. So these chapters I really have a lot of information, and I'll be honest, it still is processing in there. There's so many different kind of thread lines and thought process you can go through, but the fact that we've got so many characters, so much information, and the fact that the author has kind of subverted our expectations a little bit, I really enjoy. Nino not being with Osamu not being a captain, these are all good things, because these are, a lot of people have predicted these things, they haven't happened, and it just shows that this story can go in so many different ways, and in the author I trust. So we'll just see what happens. I'm happy. So because there's so much information, if I literally went through every single squad that's been built here, it's going to be a really long video. I don't really want to do that, because I'm sure you read the video. I'm sure you know who's the captain of this squad, who's the captain of that squad. So to essentially make this a shorter video and easier to digest, my focus is going to be on the Tamakoma B squad and where they end up. So let's kind of go through essentially the chapter. So to give you a summary of the chapter, the chapter starts off with picking the captains, 11 captains, and it ends just before picking the last third of the squads. So that's a quick summary for those who don't want to go any further into detail. Now, let's kind of go through the steps. There's 11 captains picked. Some of them are surprising, some are not really. And I'll explain why. So the first things first, squad 1, Otagawa being a captain, absolutely fine with. He's an A squad member of Kazama squad. He is an all-rounder, no issue with him being a captain. And this might be something for him in the future, because they are testing the captain ability, because realistically he's been hiding under the shadow of Otagawa, so him and Kikuchikuhara being involved in this from this side is a good way for them to see the capabilities as captains or leaders down the line. Him not Kiku, I'll call him, not being picked as a captain is interesting, but the fact that he's still going to be involved can mean he'll be effective, and he'll potentially be a mentor for lower ranking B rank members. That being said, him being chosen as a captain, no problem for squad 1. Nino for squad A and Ko for squad 10, absolutely fine with them. High ranking agents, powerful agents in their own right, very capable agents. I'm sure they'll be able to lead and teach, because essentially the captains already, regardless of where they are in the overall ranking, especially solo, they're really good, so no issues there. I'll be honest, I kind of feel bad, but I didn't really remember or know much about any of these operators, so when they start mentioning the operators, I was like, cool, nice. And then the remaining ones, like Osami, we know from Tamakoma, but essentially they're going to be the remaining 3 are going to be directors helping with these tests. Cool, no problem. then we can start going on to the pools. We get 3 pools of 11, and we essentially get told that you can't basically, captains can't pick from their original members, for like as in people that they're already teaming with, and that leads to extends to operators as well. So yeah, that starts everything off. So if you look at the squads, one thing I did like about this, I mean, they named the captains fine, no problems. When they started drawing lots for pools, that I liked, because imagine you had a really bad drawing for the first pool and that had to carry on for 2 and 3. You'd be stuffed, because you'd end up with like people that you didn't potentially want, or the leftovers, or whatever you want to call them. So the fact that each time they did a pool they repicked meant that there'd be potentially people that had a later pick first round or first pool that got a better pick second time round, and it kind of evens it out and balances it out. It does kind of to look a little bit, but at the same time it makes it interesting. Anyway, so let's kind of look at what was interesting. So let's kind of go for the Tomakoma side first. So Ninomoya gets first picked. He picks Azuma, which is where pool 2 Nina picks Chika. That absolutely is brilliant for Chika for 2 reasons. Both of them are experienced, that's number 1. 2, both of them are positions that Chika is actually learning and developing in her current arsenal. Azuma being the wily veteran who's the master of her master, so that helps in the sniper department. And the shooter, type, with the asteroids and meteor and so on and so forth. Ninamoya plus the high, having high levels of Trion will only make Chika better, because essentially he'll be able to teach her tricks that only someone with a high level of Trion can really take advantage of. So that I'm absolutely happy with. So then we go on to Otagawa picking Kuga is interesting, because Kazama squad here now. Their fighting kind of style is about speed and stealth, and I think that really lends well to the way Kuga fights, because he isn't really showing off his emotions when he fights, which is why Kage likes him. And he's quick, and he uses Scorpion as well. I mean, they might kind of get him to start using Chameleon, but I like the fact that he's having someone else to work with who's done away squads, who can try different tactics with. I like that, so it's a good place for him to be. What Osamu's really going to do, I'm not sure, because Osamu got picked essentially for Suwa squad, and to be honest with you, he got picked quite last. So it's that whole thing of him having to prove himself. He's a very relatable character because he's like that, but it's just a shame that it's kind of like, it reminds me of school, when you're playing football, and what would happen is the people would pick out all the friends or the people that were good at football, and you'd end up with the people that were unathletic or geeky or didn't really have friends that were picked last. It kind of is like that from that pool, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, it's Osamu Mikumo proving himself all over again. And I'm hoping he really does that. And him not being captain kind of takes away from that stress of having to do all the strategizing, and hopefully learning something differently from Suwa. Having said that, I don't know where Suwa's going to teach him. Maybe in the gun and shooting area, strategy, experience. All this is a good thing. So we'll have to wait and see. It does end with the starting of Pool 3. We know Hughes is in there. We know Katora's in there. We know Kitora and Katori are both in there. So that'll be interesting. So it'll be interesting to see where they end up. And that's pretty much all we've got. With the fact that there's not all of the A squad in there, 2 things come to mind. Some of them are going to stay behind anyway for defensive purposes, and a lot of them are probably going to be the opponents for the 36 hour or so consistent, continuous fighting that they're going to be doing. They always mention in discussion about how the snipers are being last choices, which makes sense, because Bagwam takes up a lot of your Tryon, and people with low level of Tryon like Osamu are going to struggle. So we'll have to see how this goes and how effective people are. Another month away, but thank you for your patience, and I'll see you next time. Peace.